Hello, my name is Sunny Kim.
And my name is Stephanie Choi, and this is part 2 of our educational video series for faith leaders on the topic of domestic violence. In this video, we'll be addressing how faith leaders can help the congregants who come forward about their domestic violence situation. A common question we'll receive from faith leaders is, how can I actually help a victim if they do tell me about their situation? Many faith leaders often feel like they're not qualified to deal with such a sensitive situation. Some pastors have even expressed guilt, wondering if they're partially to blame for not being able to provide enough help. We want to reassure faith leaders that you're not alone in feeling unqualified or feeling unsure on how to provide support. What's most important is that you're able to provide compassion and support those who do feel comfortable enough to come to you about their situation. We value our partnerships with churches because we know the reality of how difficult it can be for Korean American survivors to come to a social service agency and speak with a professional due to the cultural stigma and fear of judgment. Instead of speaking with a stranger, many survivors would like to instead talk to someone they can trust or someone they're familiar with. So faith leaders are often the first layer of support.
When helping survivors, here are some tips or key things faith leaders should be aware of. First, it's important to remember that survivor is the ultimate decision maker of their lives, whether it involves leaving their abusive relationship or seeking help. It is heartbreaking and can be frustrating to see someone we care about suffer, but ultimately, we need to respect their decisions. Second, we should remember that what we think is the best way to help may not always be the best for survivors. For example, people might believe that through prayers alone, this can help heal a victim of domestic violence. While receiving prayers from your faith leaders in your church community is a very powerful tool for healing, in reality, additional professional counseling and support services are often necessary for true healing and safety. Also, we are all in different situations and have different definitions of healing. Ultimately, the words, actions, and beliefs of faith leaders have a significant impact on how survivors of domestic violence perceive themselves, their worth, and their options for seeking help and healing. The biggest question that faith leaders should ask themselves is, am I prioritizing the safety and well-being of the survivors above everything else?
With those things in mind, I'll go over some brief components of creating a safety plan with a survivor. It's important to keep in mind that every case of domestic violence is different. Some may be currently experiencing domestic violence. Others may have already left and are living alone. Some are thinking about leaving their relationship, or they've started thinking about how they can start considering their safety, but haven't made any exact decisions. No two victims are in the same situation. The main things to discuss with the survivor are, how will you ensure your safety and how will you seek help? These are the very basic components of creating a safety plan. By addressing these questions, the survivor can take proactive steps to protect themselves and seek support when needed. So one of the first things you can discuss with a survivor is gathering all their important items and possibly preparing an emergency bag when the violence occurs or if the survivor decides to leave. How much money or cards will they take with them? Do they need to pack any medications or extra clothing? It's essential to keep the bag in a safe area where the abuser cannot find it, or have all these items in a similar area. It's important to keep these belongings in a place where a survivor can remember, because there might not be enough time to prepare all of this when the violence occurs. Another important thing to discuss is memorizing important contact information. So this means having 1 or 2 phone numbers memorized when the survivor can contact in case there is immediate danger. Sometimes when the violence occurs and the survivor leaves their home, they may be too rushed to even bring anything with them or even their phones. So if the survivor has family or friends they can trust, it's important to tell those people about their situation in advance. Otherwise, if there's no one else the survivor can contact, it's a good idea to memorize numbers for emergency services or local domestic violence hotlines.
In the past, we've received a call letting us know that their friends seem to be experiencing domestic violence. They wanted to know if they should call the police instead of their friend. The survivor in the story had told their friend to contact them 3 times and report to the police if the friend was not able to reach this person. This friend was also aware of the survivor's home address in advance. If it wasn't for this friend, it would have been nearly impossible to contact the police when the survivor was experiencing violence. The story serves as an important reminder to why it's important to ask for support in advance from trusted friends and family.
Overall, while it's important to discuss a safety plan, the most important things faith leaders can do is provide a supportive and not judgmental space for survivors. It takes so much courage for survivors to come forward about their difficult situations, so it can be healing and therapeutic for them to be able to share what they're going through. Although it may come from a good place, people might respond in harmful ways. An example is that many survivors are told to just forgive their partners and move on, but this can discredit the trauma that they are experiencing. They may be further pressured to suppress their feelings and may not want to ask for further help from anybody else. If it's hard to find the right words to say, an easy way to support the survivor is to simply just say, "I care about your safety, so I am here for you and want to support your journey towards healing."
We'll end this video by sharing a story about one of the churches we have worked with who responded very effectively to the issue of domestic violence. They were able to provide a safe haven for survivors and their families in immediate danger, offering temporary shelter and support. The church had a dedicated facility where survivors could stay to regain their financial stability and find employment. Because this church possessed a thorough understanding of domestic violence, they used their resources to support survivors and their families. We were very impressed by their commitment and compassion, and their story served as an important reminder how much change and impact a church can have. However, we know that not all churches have the resources to offer immediate shelter and financial assistance. But we believe that every church can make a difference by providing emotional support, guidance, and referrals to local services. Each church can contribute in their own way, and even small gesture of support can have a meaningful impact for survivors and their families. And that concludes the end of this video. If you have any question, feel free to leave a comment down below or send us an email or even call our hotline. We'll see you in the next video where we discuss the resources faith leaders can be aware of. Thank you.